Right there from when she got here.
Noise.
Hey.
Here's Jumper's
So Sandy, are we ready over there? Digitally? Susan on there?
Yeah.
Sorry. YouTubing? Susan's gonna try and get Zoom in.
Recording has done.
Okay, meeting's called to order. Say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Additions to agenda or changes? So what?
Nothing.
Good. Approval of minutes. Take a motion to approve the minutes for July 21st meeting.
I'll second.
Made second. Judy seconded.
Hey, Gary, I have a quick question. You've changed the agenda from the published agenda, even the one that's on the door right now. Can you explain that?
Yeah, under vice of our council, we took one item off.
Your council?
Legal counsel.
Your council?
Our legal counsel.
Your legal counsel?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Is your legal counsel and the election board legal counsel the same person?
no,
Okay. But is your counsel?
we have a lawyer.
I understand that. I asked you a specific yes or no question. Was it your counsel or their counsel that had taken off?
Ours.
Thank you.
Okay. Minutes, roll call.
Darren?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Joel?
Yes.
Jan?
Yes.
Okay. Old business, Sheriff Brett Stogstill, body cams.
So Sheriff Brett Stogstill, real quick. Again, thank you for approving the body cams. We got the contract signed the very next day. We should be within 30 to 45 days now out from having those in and upfitted with new vests and everything like that. Mr. Kemp had asked me to bring in a thing on in-car cameras. We're still working on that. So we will, with everything, when that flushes out, we'll get you that stuff there. I don't know if I'm on at all.
You're not.
You are.
Yeah, turn it on, turn it on.
Jeff and Laura.
There you go.
There we go. Anyway, again, thank you so much for the approval of the body cams. It's a much needed thing. The contract looks pretty good. I think we'll get through it. The way it's set up, we can add cameras if we need to. If we decide we need more for the jail or something like that, we can add cameras without raising the contract. We just buy the cameras outright and it'll go through that. So that's all I have. Any questions on any of that or anything else? Okay.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank
you. New business, Teresa Cobian, dog tax.
Good evening. I'm Teresa Cobian, Brown County Commissioner's Assistant. We noticed, looking at dog tax, that the account runs negative. And we thought it was a commissioner ordinance that had put it in place. And upon researching, it is your council. So I have a lot of data about how the program is not working and what it was supposed to do. So I'm not really sure where to take you, and do you have any questions right off the bat?
Yeah, how come the cats don't get on there? Why is it prejudicial?
It's prejudicial, it's the dogs.
Because when you say it runs negative, I mean, remind me what it's for. And
It's $5 per dog that every citizen who has a dog is supposed to pay. That is not happening.
I mean, what's the purpose of the funds, or the use of the funds?
You want to go that way with me? The purpose of that fund?
I wonder why it gets drawn in the red, like what, I mean,
Well, from my understanding of it, there's a portion of it goes to, what was it, Purdue, I think, for study.
Okay, Indiana abolished the dog tax in 2006. After that, it was county option whether or not counties wanted to pick the tax up. Brown County opted to do that. So 20% was supposed to go to Purdue Extension, 80% was supposed to go to animal control, 3% was supposed to go to livestock, and 1% was supposed to go to rabies exposure. Currently, what's happening is the dog tax board is giving the Humane Society $5,000 every year. And by the time we administratively put the tax notes in the tax bills and print them, and with the people that you're collecting from, you're not breaking even every year.
We're losing?
You're losing.
Meaning we can't even administer the program
No,
or
and
equal to what
like
it's
the
bringing
sheriff's
in.
department, when I talked to Brad about it, he said, there's no teeth in it. So why, it doesn't behoove them to go around and chase people because they haven't paid dog tax. You want to say anything on that? That's your bailiwick, not mine.
I'm not going to be the ice of dog tax, so. Yeah. The only time that we've ever really tried to do this is if we're having issues with animal control, having complaint after complaint after complaint. And this is something that we can kind of somewhat hold our feet to the fire, like, hey, you haven't paid your dog tax, so, we can write you an ordinance for, an ordinance ticket for this, which the prosecutor can't even prosecute. So they have to pay Cody, the 4D prosecutor, a stipend to even enforce these laws.
Because
So-
it's non-criminal.
Because it's non-criminal, and the prosecutor or the deputy prosecutor can process or prosecute civil cases.
I know that when he said, Ted said, I think Cody had 5 on his desk the other day.
Those are
Something
actual
else?
tickets, but not dog tax tickets.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Those are probably dogs at large tickets, which is
Okay,
completely different than a dog
Okay,
tax.
thanks for clarifying.
Separate issues such as bites or things.
Bites, dogs at large that people won't keep up, or they keep running and getting on someone else's property that's documented. Hey, we've warned you, we've told you, and now we're going to ticket you. So.
And 1% of the dog tax is supposed to go to the testing of animals for rabies when that happens, and that's not happening either.
Sounds like 1% would be like 72 cents or something.
Yeah, it's not.
Pretty much. I mean, you're only collecting an average about $5,000 a year, and it's just not enough to sustain it itself.
I mean, instead of giving it 20% to Purdue Extension and livestock, why I'd go towards livestock.
We're
give it all
basically,
to
we're
the
giving it to the
Society.
Humane Society for, I'm not really sure. I mean, I don't know how far you want me to go into the weeds with all of this, with everybody. I think that the Humane Society still needs something from us about all that, but you're already in the hole with the animal control payroll. Because this 80% hasn't been happening.
So hold on, I guess, so, okay, 80% to animal control, I see. I thought it went to the Humane Society, I
It's not
misunderstood.
supposed, how it got to the Humane Society in the $5,000 bill for the last 5 years, I don't
Oh,
know.
so I thought I heard you say Humane Society, so we are giving 5, but our ordinance apparently does not say we should be doing that.
Correct, and you're not even collecting enough money to pay that $5,000.
Brad, do you need the 5,000 for animal control?
It's not a Brad question,
not,
it's a
yeah.
Humane Society question at
That's
this
for the
point.
Humane Society. And to be honest with you, it's been this whole dog tax thing from the post box to back and forth.
It's been a
With the
nightmare.
treasurer's office has been pretty much a nightmare. So the treasurer's office had a box, they were getting it. The board was opening it up, well, whoever was on the board stopped doing that. So then the post office said, hey, you gotta pick up this post box. And they sent us the bill, and I'm like, that's not our bill, send it back.
And then we got
And it's
involved
been
in the
a-
auditor's office about the post office
It's
box.
been a mess, and then we were told, well, so it's supposed to come to us, but then we were told we can't open it. Well, it said it's addressed to animal control, so, yeah, we're gonna open it, and if it's checked, then we have to send it back over here,
Mhm.
and it's kind of been,
Administratively, your administrative costs, of all that jargon he just said it's not even in black and white on the numbers, and you're already in the hole.
So your suggestion is, and the
Throw the
implications
citizens
are?
a bone and do away with this tax.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, we're taxing people people and not a lot of people are participating, and then the money that we do
And
collect
it's not
is
fair
simply
to the-
going towards like printing copies and admit bureaucratic,
I think
unhelpful stuff.
years ago, I think
Yeah.
initially, I mean, I'm talking like back in the 50s and 60s, if my dog attacked somebody's chickens, it actually went to.
It would go to
Livestock.
pay, that's for the livestock to pay back.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what it initially was for.
But it's not even been doing that, it's hitting your bottom line. So basically, you're taxing the citizens and some of them are paying. The ones that are paying are getting taxed again because this money is coming out of the general fund and in the long run, in the grand scheme of things. So,
It's a tax we have on the books, it's unenforceable.
it
It
is,
costs us money.
it does.
It's not fair to the people who voluntarily comply with it, with all the people who don't. So a tax that's not enforceable and isn't doing its purpose should be done away with.
Yeah, and
I
because
agree.
it's got fines attached to it, it's council.
It is a ordinance set forth originally by the council.
Yes, and I have all of that,
Because
I
it
have
has
all of that
fines
with me,
attached to it.
so you can have it.
Can we get like just a super quick review from Susan saying yes or no, you can eliminate, and then we vote to eliminate, just be done with it. We don't need a tax for bureaucracy's sake, we need it for actual good purposes, so if anything. And so, I do like 5K going to the Humane Society, I mean, that is a good thing, but
Well, we currently give them 50, plus we give them another 20 for spay and neuter. So basically, you're already on the hook for 55, but that's a commissioner thing,
I
so.
mean, would you take a motion?
If I turn my tags in, can I get a refund?
Don't even put that out there, Joel.
How dare you?
Susan, do you have anything to say on
Oh,
this
Susan's on the
matter?
phone, I forgot she was on the phone, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Susan,
if Teresa can just send me that ordinance, what you will need to do is repeal that ordinance. So I'll have that prepared for your next month's meeting. But I'll review it. I'll connect with Teresa. We can make it effective at the end of the year so that we don't have to give refunds for the year, Joel, and we'll move on from there.
Is that it? We're good?
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, appreciate it. Next item is EMA additional appropriation. Chad, good to see you.
I'm still laughing at no teeth in the dog tax. Good evening, Mr. President, Council. I'd like to move some of my money again. This is money that is in the general fund, and it was originally put there for a potential admin assistant. And while new hiring has been frozen, that money is there. So I would like to move that into a couple different lines, mostly general contracting, hire a general contractor, EMA background to help me with some large projects that have developed with all the storms that we experienced from November through the year. Just some general EMA admin to help me in those regards. As well, move some into community education for NOAA weather radios, fire blankets, and some smoke alarms to be given out to the community. And then continuing work on some communication systems and protecting those through hard case storage and so on. I'll just say that based on the time of year, looking at the contracts available, finding a contractor to do some of those, I may be coming back to you should you approve this. I would say probably late October, early November, if there's any of that contract money that is still sitting there, not been able to, find a contractor or have them complete that contract. What I would do is move that bulk back into community education and buy more NOAA radios, fire blankets, and fire alarms to help our community out. So.
Would you back up? So we've got EMA, so the EMA request, we've got 37,000, and you want to move it from an EMA admin position, which was not filled, or?
We have the hiring freeze. So the money was initially appropriated for an emergency management EMA admin and that line item, which would be subordinate to me. But with the hiring freeze, that position wasn't hired for, but the money is appropriated and sitting in that account.
As a general fund funds, so there's 37,000 of unspent funds, which, and I'm curious, have you, these items you're moving them into, Are they also in your budget request for this coming year?
They're not, they would be an unfunded request. With the exception of the 20,000 for a contractor having budgeted for an admin, if that makes.
And in the contract, that was the other thing, what is that for?
So I would have to find someone with, there are several emergency management contract agencies around the state or region. That would be to bring in some folks to help move some projects such as a large scale inventory I'm accomplishing. I'm touching everything that the EMA owns. Does it work? Does it not work? Putting that into a capital list. We have a pretty major exercise we're starting to work on for 2026. Some initial work on that with the fire departments. That would be a pipeline disaster, working with some pipelines to bring in some training for that. This individual would help get us kicked off on the initial planning documents and meeting.
So it's kind of the EMA admin in a contract form?
Yeah, it would essentially be what I would have had that person doing since January up to now and through the year. So
On an as-needed basis?
Yeah. I would develop this as a deliverable-based contract, not an hourly rate kind of deal. I kind of figured what it would cost hourly, but it would be a specific deliverable where you perform these things, I get this back. This is the way that I want to see this back. If you do that, you complete the contract. If you don't do it in that regard, you have an opportunity to fix it to be able to meet that deliverable.
And then the search and rescue equipment, what is that?
Looking at an IR or thermal type scope. Right now we had two small handhelds that were purchased about, I think, 8 to 10 years ago. This is to have a newer scope available to any of the fire departments for a search and rescue type incident.
Any other questions?
Clarification on numbers in the 2025 adopted budget, the line has 37,277, and the request on here is 37,227. Which one's correct?
Well, if you have the numbers, then it's probably correct on there.
Okay. Because I've just, clarified, it's going to leave.
Those came out of our system, so.
It's going to leave $50 in the account, so I don't know if that's going to cause a problem. We're going to take the whole 32,277.
I could amend it and buy another radio. One more NOAA radio for a.
I didn't know if that was the purpose, was to use what was in the budget line, but there's just a discrepancy between the two numbers, so.
Any problem leaving 50 in there, or can we modify it
Is that
here?
going to cause you any problems? Okay, let's just do the 227 that was asked for.
Okay. Any other questions?
Typically I don't like rushing to spend money that has been saved from their other critical needs, but these are EMA needs. We've recently been made very aware of some disasters. I'm still not a huge fan of, and so I guess I just want to say that because it's not something I think we want to encourage. We need these funds for a variety of things, but again, the one thing I don't necessarily like is the general contractor, the 20K. You have projects you want them to do, but are those critical in nature and have no other funding sources, or is there a way to make that? Could you give us back 10,000 out of that and work with the pipeline company itself to fund some of those trainings and work on that? I'm looking for a way to maybe put some of that money back in the general fund, back into where we may need it for some of these other purposes. And maybe there's another line on here that's less important that you could contribute. I don't want to try to spend every single penny, right?
Right.
So that was a question.
I certainly could go back and,
I'm just
pull lines off or adjust it. The position itself was approved for me to have an admin to accomplish some of these tasks. I understand and concur with that amount of money is not just what it takes to have an employee. It's probably double that or more. I concur with that. The position being approved, the job description itself approved to put this on on there. These are things that that individual would have been doing, so I can certainly go back and revise any of this or all of this. Yeah, I understand the greater needs that the county's facing right now as well.
Yeah, I guess my question is, like, if you were to prioritize this, you know, I mean, what would you be sacrificing if we did 10,000 for the contractor instead of 20? I mean, is it significant, or is it something we can do next year? And I also noted that, you know, you didn't ask for it in the budget for this coming year. I know it's a tight budget year also, but I'm just wondering, you know, is it a priority, or are we trying to spend the money? But just trying to feel it out. These look like important expenses, but we haven't heard about them, so I'm just trying to make sure we do the right thing here. And then on IT, and surely they're happy to get the PC replacement. I mean, typically that would be coming out of their...
No, sir.
Oh, is it different?
No,
Okay.
EMA always buys its own computer.
It buys its own, okay. One of the things you mentioned was the capital evaluation of assets as a part of that contract. And I think we just had the contractor do all that assessment. They not do, you're talking about like tornado sirens and stuff?
No, individual equipment items that like water pumps, generators, things like that. They're, you know, for emergency purposes that EMA has, that an earthquake happens, we suddenly have 2 generators. They weren't used for 5 years. So, you know, take a look at those items. Do we need them? Does EMA have, or stockpile equipment like that? Or do I take the stuff that I have, make sure it's working, and get that to our volunteer fire departments or other responders? And, you know, for example, just found some items from an old rescue task force that I was able to transfer over to the sheriff's department. So, you know, again, it's a larger project. EMA tend to pack rat things. I'm not really an EMA pack rat. I'd rather take the stuff out of the warehouse and get it to folks who are going to use it. If I had a priority, frankly, it would be the community. We can't afford $500,000 for a new siren system, but boy, I tell you that having $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 to go buy NOAA radios for people who I run into and just got rid of all that I had, because no, they can't afford $60, you know, at Walmart or the dollar store to get a NOAA weather radio. That's our primary means of notification in this county.
It's a big deal. I know Duke has donated a lot of radios, and you've got some community partners that do that. And just to make sure, like, you know, seeing the response to the recent disaster was really great. I mean, the community, and I know you had to play an instrumental role in that, in your department, and this engagement throughout the community was super impressive. And so this is not about that. It's about just trying to be very careful about how we spend kind of unexpected requests, and so yeah, good work on making all that happen. I don't think you're done yet, right? There's more recovery to do.
Well, I would just point out that, you know, what was done, that response, you know, and in response, the way that the community came together, what didn't get done as a result of just continuous response. I mean, look at the highway department and the sheriff's department and different responders, right? What wasn't being done is we have to continue to prepare, plan, train, and exercise. Those are the things that admin would have been doing for me or assisting with while I'm running the response or helping coordinate the recovery that's still ongoing in South Brown. So those facets of a complete program are what's sitting there. So budgeting time, managing time between now and the end of the year. Several of those projects, like an integrated preparedness planning workshop, where all agencies come together and look at what their preparedness needs are. That wasn't done. So that's behind. There are a couple of EMA type projects like that, and it's just a matter of finding the time to get in and do it. This contract would help us get back up to speed where our peer counties are that didn't have to deal with what we've had to deal with. So most other counties around us dealing with, you know, have at least 2 or 3 people in their EMA. I don't think we need that. I think just with some administrative support, we would be right on board. So they would just help me clean up some of those tasks that got missed during that response.
That makes sense. Thank you.
You said the search and rescue equipment was for an infrared?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a thermal type site. We're looking at maybe a drone application of that, if it can be modular, but searches in the park, especially, you know, low night are hard to do. So
we don't have any infrared equipment at the moment?
We do, but not, I think the sheriff's department has a couple, or maybe one of the drones as well. Paul's drone has one. This thermal intensifier can also be used to look at a house fire or a structure fire to be able to evaluate, you know, is it hot, where is it? So it's kind of a hybrid system. $5,200 doesn't find one of the best or greatest, but it does allow us to find some type of handheld that if we have a larger major structure fire, and I'm thinking more towards Hard Truth, you know, some of the community that way, or we have a pretty involved search where we still have a lot of, you know, leaves on the trees out there, that even with some of the smaller objects, you can use your cell phone these days to do that. This would be something that dispatch could let me know that we have that situation, and I could get it to whether it's the fire department, sheriff's department, NPD, whoever it is that's involved, either the fire or the search situation.
The $5,200 gets you a kind of the low end basic one. What would you need to get maybe a slightly better middle of the road?
Yeah, these things can go, you know, as far as $100,000, $120,000.
Right, but I'm saying from 52, I mean,
Yeah.
if you spend 7,000, does that get you significantly
Not really.
better?
No, it's just that range and the lower IR band. I think that it doesn't get, you know, lower level. There are some that are $200 and $300, and that's kind of what we've got. You know, we go by Walmart and carry in our pockets and stuff, but this gives a pretty decent capability without.
It's a significant improvement over
Yeah.
what we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like, you know, my personal opinion is I don't necessarily need top of the line thing, but I also don't like the
Right.
cheapest, because you get what you pay for. So there's middle of the road somewhere. 5,200 kind of seems like it might be one of those. It gives us something better than we have.
Yeah.
That's not gonna break us. I just don't want to spend money on something that's not gonna fit our needs. And then, you know, I've spent the money on something.
Yeah, based on reviews and ratings of different models, that was kind of the price range. That number is for a specific model that I had researched. It was, you know, 4.5 star for what you get for the money and user feedback.
So maybe, go ahead.
Yeah.
Maybe in the wrong spot, but it says community education 5,000, and then it lists like equipment, radios, fire blankets. Should that be under equipment, or?
That's part of, that goes into the community education part, because those would be donated to citizens. So it's part of our community education program. Those items, if I were able to get them, would probably be used at an upcoming volunteer fire recruitment event where they're all working together. It benefits the whole county. A county-wide event where we set a table up, engage the public, talk with them, find folks who have a need for those items that haven't purchased them.
Then the mesh is a communication mesh network for
Yeah.
radios.
Yeah, mesh is a system that we're working on right now. It's a short message, SMS style communication over ham network. These are very inexpensive nodes at, you know, $300 a piece, and it's kind of filling a gap for us. And where we have probably 800 in VHF, instead of having to bring our ham operators out to set up their equipment and talk over that network, this system allows you to do that on your cell phone via text messages, not even touched on the cell tower. So I hope to give you a better briefing on that as we move forward. We're just not there yet, but we've got about 8 nodes up. We're getting ready to test some of the pieces of equipment that come with that, to include putting an antenna on a drone, again, during a search situation where we can have our own network live over an incident. And it's dirt cheap. Dirt cheap.
But you don't have any drones at this point, correct?
I have one drone that was depreciated out from survey. One of Tom's survey drones that is depreciated out of.
Standard camera or IR, do you know what?
It has a standard camera. The IR on it is not like a typical IR or search beam. It doesn't have the.
Yeah, there's low resolution and high and low.
Yeah.
Very good. Now, does he not have a high resolution drone?
I believe that he does. I know that Paul does. The sheriff's department does have one on their drone.
Yeah. You should have at least 600 lines of resolution to be able to do anything worthwhile with it.
Yeah.
So, but you can't use those two, and is this, you say this is a scope? What do you mean?
A handheld thermal.
Just a.
Yeah, this is to put some, you know, what if we can't fly a drone? I mean, you know, the tornado would be a good example of immediately thereafter. we still had bad weather coming in. And the thought was that, getting back to a what if, we needed to have somebody on the ground that could help be directed, that could use a monocular type IR device.
Is that the kind of thing, it sounds like a lot of tourist-related activities, that's something the innkeeper's tax could fund, Susan? If it's equipment and that sort of thing?
I think, that's a question that we would have to sort of look into to determine, how much of this is going on in the state park. Are we searching for tourists who are showing up as missing or lost out in the park, things of that nature? It would just be something that we would have to look at.
Any other questions?
I have another question, but it's not related to this, so I'll have another question for you after we're done with this.
Okay.
Comes to mind. I can't, normally it's like booming if I get close to it.
So we've got an ordinance, which I can read, and we can decide if we want to approve. It says additional appropriation ordinance 2025, number 08-18-000, Council Bill number 10. Whereas it has been determined that it is now necessary to appropriate more money than was appropriated in the annual budget. Now therefore, Section 1, be it resolved by the County Council of Brown County, Indiana, that for the expenses of the taxing unit, the following additional sums of money are hereby appropriated out of the funds named and for the purposes specified, subject to the laws governing the same. General Fund 1,000, line number 30,000, other services and charges, the amount is $25,000. Line number 40,000, capital outlays, the amount is $12,227 for a total general fund 1,000 of $37,227. Take a motion.
I have a technical and legal question about that. Did we actually appropriate that for this year's budget?
It was the way, it sounded like additional funding, but I think it's a transfer.
Our ordinance says additional appropriation, but if we've already appropriated this for
It's already in the budget.
EMA administrator,
Just wanting to switch it from one
then
line to the
we're just doing a
next, to those
transfer.
lines.
It's just a
Already in the
transfer.
budget.
Okay, that was my question, because it sounds
Is
like an
the wording
additional.
correct is what you're asking?
I don't think, if we're doing an additional appropriation, then no, it's not.
This is not,
Susan,
this isn't, it does not qualify as an additional appropriation, because what I'm understanding when I look at this right here and what you commented is there is a line item in your budget specifically for admin, and all we're doing is shifting the money out of this line item that's already been appropriated, and we're shifting it to these other line items to cover these other expenses.
That is correct, right.
So that ordinance is incorrect.
Making a transfer.
That ordinance is incorrect.
Susan, do you have a copy of the ordinance in front of you?
Just read the ordinance, for God's sakes.
I don't have a copy of the ordinance in front of me, but what you're saying is correct. Like, it's on your agenda as an additional appropriation. And my fault, I should have clarified more with Julie today, because I did ask her if she advertised it and if we were moving forward with this tonight, that this would be approved. I did not ask if she advertised it as an additional or as a transfer. So what he has explained would be a transfer. So we can, there are two options here of what you can do, and it really just depends on how it was advertised. Was it advertised as an additional, or was it advertised as a transfer?
I'd have to go look, so it's been a long time since I actually did
Let's
this.
maybe pause it, or maybe just kind of table it. Anything urgent here we should be concerned about? No? Okay. I mean, Mr. President, if you would, take a motion.
So
Is
what
this,
you,
is this a situation, if we have an ordinance, we can reduce it down, an ordinance for an additional appropriation, we can amend it on site and reduce it to a transfer, or would we have to re-advertise the entire thing as a transfer?
no,
You
so
don't,
Okay.
Go ahead, Susan.
So if it was advertised as an additional appropriation, we cannot switch it to a transfer now. We can additionally appropriate tonight if it's advertised that way, and then do a reduction of appropriation at your next meeting in order to bring this back into compliance. That's kind of an extra step. So the other option would simply be to table it to make sure that it was advertised as an transfer for tonight, and then pass a resolution at your next meeting transferring this if none of this is in an emergency status, which I think Scott just asked about.
I make a motion to table this until we can get it advertised as a transfer and vote on it that way.
Second will work for you, Chad? Has to.
Would you, just one other thing, I mean, would you try to sharpen your pencil, try to give back some money? And I know you're just trying to make things happen here, I appreciate that, and there's clearly a lot of need, but we also have a significant budget kind of crunch, and so I appreciate that.
If we don't have to spend it, we don't want to.
Yeah, that's right.
Chad, can I ask one question?
Yes, sir.
If you had to grade the county, F being with flunk, A being the passing colors, in your personal opinion, being as objective as you can be, what grade would you give the county?
I'm proud to serve as the leader of the council and the commissioners and the people in this county, sir.
But how would you grade our preparedness?
You didn't add that part. Our preparedness.
Our preparedness, our equipment, everything. How would you grade us?
I think we're behind in some, we talk about equipment areas, but training and equipment, we're probably a C, but when you look at the ability for our responders.
Keep the people out of it. Let's take the people out of it.
But I don't think I can, because I think that our preparedness capability in this county is based off of its people.
Okay, then that's training.
I mean our people, our citizens. If you look at the response to the tornado and so on, we have very resilient folks here. So, something as small as a weather radio is a huge piece of equipment. That's a C. We need to get more NOAA radios back out in the community. But as far as emergency management as a program as a whole, it's not just an individual agency. I'm really hard on myself and work that I've done here, but I think we're at a C+.
Okay. And one follow-up question with that, and this is more of an educational from my end. Tornado shows up. I'm assuming someone within the county's, watching the Doppler radar. So you're watching this front move in, right? And then the only thing I personally know is several times when my Verizon cell phone goes off, and I think, Christy, we got to get to the basement. We got to get to the basement, right? And so what I heard you say is when that system comes in, when that front comes in, there's something that goes on within the county that sends out that signal. I don't know if that's tethered in with this 911, AT&T 500,000 contract that we got to renew. So I'm assuming that's part of the technology, right? Okay.
Tornado activation is not part of that.
It's not. Okay. But then what you're saying is that there are individuals within the county that either don't have a cell signal or don't have a cell phone to be able to get that emergency signal in the event that we have something like that occur. Is that correct?
Jim, to accentuate that, just using myself, I'm noticing I'm not, and as like an educational thing for the public while we're talking about that, I'm not getting those alerts. Can you just quickly tell us, everybody, how you get this system that we need to all be on?
Yeah, so the Everbridge system merged with Nixle, so those are the automated alerts that you receive based off your zip code. How many zip codes do we have in the county? 11. So, folks who are going in and putting their zip code in, like I'm a Freetown zip code. Well, the last 5 storms we've had that dropped a tornado, for Pete's sake, every one of them went over his house. That line has not changed the last 5 or 6 storms. I didn't get a single notification from my Freetown address, but because I know how to game the system, I have Nashville and the other, 9 in there. So I have recently worked with Everbridge for the contract that we have. We have the very bare bones version. I can't go in and drag a box and send alerts and things and to be able to do that. Well, I worked out a deal with them to go ahead and give me the pro level to do that, and they didn't change our contract amount. The leverage there is we only have 15,000 people in the county, but really only about 7,000 to 8,000 who are going to use that type of system. Our registration for that's around 3,500, 4,000 people. That's really not bad. So, but what's bad is, again, the zip code, we run into that, and there's no way really for them to box that in and fix it. So this should help me, fix that. But the automated system itself, the NOAA alert, the National Weather Service alert, is what goes into dispatch that they hear and receive as well, that has them set the tones and drop that. We only have 2 tornado sirens in the county.
So that runs through dispatch then?
Yes, sir.
And dispatch then is the one that sends that out when my cell phone goes off?
Yes, sir.
Got it.
And that's done through an antenna with an 800 megahertz antenna that has to go and touch Beam Blossom towers and set off the one signal that's over a quarter speed line. The other signal's there by my office. We know that 800 megahertz is a problem in this county. So these trees and leaves are magnificent. That's why we live here. It's why people come to see us. But it is hell on our emergency services and public safety communication system. I'd love to drop $500,000 on a new siren system. That puts 6 to 8 new sirens in the county. That is just putting them where we have population density. There's no way we'll ever be able to put up enough sirens that everybody can hear a siren somewhere in the county. That's the old civil defense days, right? That could cover that. These sirens are primarily for outdoors, for our visitors, folks who are outside. We have the siren that's here downtown. I can actually talk through. We can start to utilize those for more types of indication and warning, but it's bang for the buck, right? For 37,200, I'll buy everybody a NOAA weather radio. I mean, that would be my passion to get those radios, just as simple as a NOAA radio. Man, $60 in batteries, that's got a little bite to it. So that's my intention there. And like I said, if there's not a reality of contract services based on their availability now, right? So we've several of the state agencies have let a lot of their folks go. So a lot of these opportunities are gone. I mean, people have gobbled them up and used them, so it may be difficult. But my passion in any of this would be to answer your question. I'm only as good as the indications and warning that we get for some of these storms. So the shortest way to fix that problem is to get as much of that indication and warning as we can out to the county. So,
speaking of tornado sirens, that's the segue into the question I had for you after. There was a discussion we had at one of the Helmsburg meetings that had talked about the available grants for sirens, and one of the problems with the grants was that we didn't have active tornado activity in the county, which kind of didn't make us eligible for it. Since that conversation, this tornado has gone through, has that opened up any availability for Brown County for grants for sirens? Because with that, like you said, there's a few places we need them.
The particular money that's available.
South side of the park being one of them.
Yeah.
Area.
Grants are becoming fewer and far between. There's an existing grant that just came out, SHSP, I don't know the acronym, whatever it's for, but the nexus of that grant is for $150,000. It must be tied to a nexus of terrorism. That was a grant previously to be used for other things. There's a grant called EMPG, Emergency Management Program grant, that helps pay for my salary, as Julie and I know very well. But they used to have what was called a competitive, and we would use competitive EMPG funds to go try and buy a siren. So the cost, the technical cost of these sirens that have gone up. So the siren at Cordier Sweetwater is a mechanical. That's an $8,000 siren, which incidentally is why It has to go off once a week, and don't be mad at dispatch, folks, that it has to turn, because it's cleaning its brushes. So we have to set that once a week for several minutes. The siren over by EMA is now $35,000 to $55,000. So even with an SHSP grant, and I could write very creatively to say that terrorists want to burn down our forests, impacting our economy, because that's happening across the United States, right? It's only going to get us $150,000. That's 2 of the 3 sirens, and the contractors who want to do this want a full 6 or 8 siren contract, or they're going to have to raise the price on those sirens for us. You got to find poles, got to find bucket trucks, and so to keep the cost down on them, we would want to put 6 to 8 of them. My effort, as we had talked about up in your area, was to try and hit some of the counties around us that got grant money to replace all their sirens after tornadoes really hit their counties pretty hard after several tornadoes. The contractors gobbled up those old used sirens, and as part of the contract had to go in the dumpster. And I really wanted a dumpster dive for this, so I'm not kidding. I was ready to do it. We have a gentleman in the community named Don that works for that particular siren company, and he loves to tinker with them. So for, the 10 or 12 that I could have pulled out of a dumpster, we could have put 3 or 4 of them.
And this goes to the federal strings that are attached to some of the grants that I've mentioned before. Perfectly good working sirens that could have been used by another community, because they got that federal grant. The federal grant required those old sirens to be destroyed and disposed of. I mean, it's maddening.
Siren Cert D minus. Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
Got a motion and a second? Table it?
Are you supposed to say all in favor?
Yeah. You want to take a roll call?
Darren,
Yes.
Judy,
Yep,
Scott,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Jim.
Sure.
Sorry, Jack.
Thank you. No, sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. You made her create another column, Jim.
Okay. There's nothing else on the agenda. Jim, Art?
Motion adjourned.
Anyone second it?
Second.
Seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you. Adjourned.
This is how it was advertised. It shows